Is that the original release or the later one with the rotating screen? All right. All right, this is episode 166 of the Zenspath Entertainment Network Podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Powers. And joining me this week, we have Rachel.
Hello.
Steven.
Direct to you.
And surpassing humanity and just becoming a two-dimensional piece of art, Chris.
Boo.
Yes, he is here, and his computer-drawn glory as an image and his sultry tone of his voice as he speaks to us all. This time, Chase, though, is out. He is on assignment to locate the possible Legend of Zelda filming location down in New Zealand, or at least that's what we're going to believe, because he just has other stuff to do. So, all right. So this week and next week are going to be kind of a 1-2 punch for just a lot of craziness with the Switch.
Hope you like Nintendo, guys.
Yeah, we're basically, well, I mean, we're already basically mostly Nintendo stuff.
That's all we're talking about. That's it.
We get, there's a few, yeah, it's basically all Nintendo. Who are we kidding? But we got a surprise Nintendo Direct this week because we kept talking about, they were like, there's a rumor they're going to have one this week. And we're like, why would they do that? It's just a few days before the Switch 2 reveal.
We should have just asked Rachel if it was going to happen. If she said yes, then it's all right.
Yeah, she had to be here.
Willed into existence once again.
Listen, my mystical powers of manifestation knows no bounds. Okay? I either manifest things or I've got ghosts. Sometimes both.
Well, it can go either way. But since half of the group that's here today has not been here in a while, let's go ahead and jump into what we've been doing so we can actually find out what's been going on. For the man who's been gone the longest, Chris, we're going to start with you. What you been doing, man?
Just catching up on commission work and getting two different RPG games settled. One of them is the final dungeon in a previous campaign, and then we're moving into a second one. So that's a lot of writing, a lot of preparing, a lot of making sure everybody has character sheets for when they die, all kinds of fun stuff like that. In terms of games, I've been playing Metroid Prime Remastered, which is a veritable pain to complete because there are enemies that you only see once during the boss fights and enemies that spawn enemies that you only see once during the boss fights. And if you do not scan them all, you will see a big fat 9-point blah on your stupid screen. And that has haunted me since the first Metroid Prime. I'm going to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Well, as I said before the show to you, just to make it feel better, if you go back in for a New Game Plus, your stuff carries over and you can continue filling out for scanning. So
nobody plays New Game Plus.
Steven, shush. I knew as soon as I said the term, you would be saying something. It's like pulling your string.
Yes, and I also played a bunch of role-playing games. I played Grandia 2 Remastered. I played Dragon Quest 3, so now I'm ready for 1 and 2. And I'm helping a friend across the internet play Metaphor, so I will never be free of that game. And that's it.
Nice. Yeah, Amanda loved Grandia 2 back on the Dreamcast. It was the first and only RPG she's actually played all the way through and beat.
Nate?
Just for some reason it clicked with her and she loved it.
Is the collection in English voices?
Yes, English or Japanese.
Is it still Cam Clark?
I think so, yes. That voice did sound familiar.
Is there a reason it shouldn't be or wouldn't be?
Oh, because Lunar's not going to be any of the people you know.
Oh, really? Yeah. Well, we shall see. All right, next up, Rachel, what about you? What you been doing?
Oh, man. Well, Jeremy and I were talking a little bit before the show, and I kind of was just like, oh my God, I've been doing so much for the last 3 or 4 weeks that I don't even remember exactly what I've been doing.
When I wasn't accidentally cutting off your camera and muting you.
Yeah, you know.
My bad.
But no, I've been going to a lot of events and like things, like going to see people play music. I've been helping one of my friends look for a house that she's gonna buy. Lots of fun things, relaxing, doing things because we've been hella busy at work. Obviously, going to game nights at the local comic store. I keep trying to talk up my favorite tabletop RPG, Monster of the Week, in the hopes that some GM that is finishing up a campaign of something else is interested in a new game system, so I can get a game of that going because I am too busy to run my own game. So, fingers crossed that eventually I will wear someone down. And reading a lot, like I said. I played a whole 5 minutes of the new Hello Kitty game. And I'm still on the airplane. That's at the very beginning of the game.
Oh wow.
And then I played a whole 5 minutes of Xenoblade Chronicles X. My character woke up, and then I'm talking to the lady. And I just finished talking to the lady, and I had the opportunity to save, and then I had to go do something else. That's how busy I am. Like, I barely have enough time to do really anything other than I get home from work and then I sleep. Maybe I read a little, but that's it. So
Fair enough.
that's what I've been up to. Yes, Steven, did you have a comment?
I was gonna say, for the Animal Crossing fans out there, still being on the plane in Hello Kitty is like still being on the train in Animal Crossing.
Yes.
Okay.
They give you a mission right off the bat, which is just talk to people. And I'm like, oh, okay.
That's kind of what Animal Crossing does too. It's like, all right, go talk to these people, then go find Tom Nook. So, all right. Steven, what about you? What you been doing?
Well, believe it or not, I've been playing Multiverses.
Shocking. You heard it here first, people.
It's nearing the end. I got one more costume to get through a lottery program where I have to play 5 times a day.
And here we are hoping for the best for you.
And then after that, it's just, what are you guys going to do to end it? Like, are you going to make stuff cheaper so I can get more costumes? Who knows? ZZZ still going strong. That game is as healthy as ever. Still doing really well on that one. Still spending $15 to $30 every season. I'm not their demographic. There's people who spend a lot more than me.
Oh, I believe
I'm sure.
I finished Resident Evil 4 Separate Ways. I thought that one was really good. Good. Aside from Ada Wong's acting.
Is it really that bad?
You can only ask for so much, okay?
That game really grabs you, and then you kind of want to play it again and gasp. I may want to do a new game plus for the first time ever.
About goddamn time.
Holy shit.
And I was just like, if it had to be any game, it had to be Resident Evil 4 Remake that would do that to me. Because I also started Resident Evil 7, and as well as some stuff being way too unbelievable, like this is coming from the game that you get herbs to heal yourself. But to give you an idea, if you don't run away from one of the characters in the beginning, he cuts off your foot. And you're supposed to reattach it by grabbing your foot and then using a med kit, and that will reattach your foot by pouring liquid on it.
Wait, is this your first time playing 7?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you ain't seen shit yet. That is not the weirdest thing.
That's some backwards ass science shit is what that is.
And I was just like, oh, this first person stuff. I know the hunting for goodies doesn't really come back till 8, so I'm hoping to get through 7 so I can play the third person mode in 8.
I will tell you this, like 7 to me, because I've always been a huge fan of the Resident Evil series. 7 was phenomenal and terrifying. It's also the only one I have only ever played on purpose in VR, in first person. So doing all of that from that point of view is so messed up.
And then lastly, because I heard it released on Game Pass, I started Atom Fall. Atom Fall is like if Far Cry and Fallout had a baby.
Is it good?
I'm enjoying it so far because instead of vaults that have random stuff in it, you have bunkers. So you have Bunker 3, Bunker 7, Bunker 43. So you know where it's biting from.
Okay. I might watch a playthrough on YouTube or something.
There is so many accessibility options. It is insane, where you can even color in the enemies. So you can make sure enemies are colored in red and good people are colored in blue. Like, you can go insane with the options. I was just like, I just need to know if they saw me or not above their heads. But the game's like, we're only going to show you that for like 2 seconds, but we'll color them one color for the whole game if you want. And I'm like, all right.
That's awesome. I mean, accessibility stuff is
but
always
you're just thrown in a giant world, and you basically just have to find everything from the get-go. There's still skills, but not as involved as Fallout. But it's Rebellion, so I like how their systems work. There's no X-ray cams or anything, unfortunately.
Rachel, what are you eating?
But the guns feel really good.
Oh, I was just putting something down.
Oh, I can hear a bag.
Yeah, they have a bag in my lap, and
I'm just waiting for you to take like loud chips.
I might. I'll mute it though.
Please do.
I'll
That's gonna be
trying
weird.
it more because I want to see if each bunker is different, or kind of how Fallout had their weird bunkers, and I just want to see if that
lovely science experiments.
I want to see if that happens here too. Like the reviews and videos have been saying, the game is unapologetically British. There is turn on subtitles. Otherwise, you're like, what did he say? Like they blend the words together.
Unless you're me and watch a ton of British and Canadian television, probably half of the people I know would not understand anything that's being said.
Because I was raised on like Benny Hill, and then I watched Doctor Who, and my wife watched Monty Python and stuff like that, and I played Thank Goodness You're Here. I have all that like ingrained in me. So the first nice guy I meet where you get to talk to him and stuff, I'm just like, wow, he's just slurring his words together. I was just like, oh yeah.
Nice. All right. So for myself, I have been absolutely enthralled with Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition more than I thought I would be, because it's become I think playing it on the Switch has been the perfect way to play it. I had it on Wii U. I tried to play it, but that whole issue of me having to sit there and play it, I just can't keep doing that. And some of the quality of life stuff they added to this new version of the game, specifically that damn ball that just shows you where to go. Oh my God, that has saved me probably just hours upon hours of stumbling around going, which way do I go? Because some of the paths are so out of the way or not obvious that it's just maddening. Now I just, hit R and X and it just throws this little ball that you can follow the trail. And I'm like, oh, thank God. So I've made it further into this thing. I'm already like 26, 27 hours into it just this week. A lot of that, of course, I can just, if I've got some downtime, I can just pick up the Switch and grind and kill stuff. So leveling up has been easier. I've been collecting the different people. And then most recently, the Mad Lobster Bomber guy, dealing with that, which has been hilarious. There's a crazy dude that tries to bomb the city with plush lobsters, and you have to find them.
Please don't spoil it anymore for me.
Okay. Just part of it. That's just one of the many things that's in there.
Oh yeah, I know. I just want to be surprised by all the weird shit that I find that I did not experience the first go around because I didn't finish it.
Well, this was not too late in there. It just kind of comes in.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just kind of a weird little bit to find in there for that. And then I haven't had a chance to play any more of Assassin's Creed. I'm still wanting to go back into that. I've been working on other stuff because I've had a massive mess up with the game room that I've been trying to fix. All of my cabling came in for the Extron Crosspoint video matrix switcher that I bought. And it's like an 8 input, 8 output BNC connection video matrix. And it was working great. I finally got the cabling hooked up. And for some reason, anything above that 480p or higher, it freaks out. 480i, 240p, stuff like that, all day long works fine. So I was playing the Saturn and, the PS2, PlayStation 1, N64, stuff like that worked great. But as soon as I tried putting the Dreamcast in with the BNC cable at 480p or my GameCube, it couldn't hold the sync correctly. And I kept trying to figure out what was going on. So I'm going to have to open it and take a look and see if there's something wrong in the circuitry and see if I can poke around at it and fix it. Because I've spent a good bit of money trying to get this thing working. So I wanted to have my whole setup because I've been back into playing a lot of my old games. So we shall see. All right, so let's dive into the absolute large amount of news we have. We don't really have any group chat for this week going on. You're probably going to hear the little news, news segment announcement more just because I can separate when I'm doing editing because there's a lot of little things to go into. But first thing off, let's jump into this week's Nintendo Direct. All right, so this is basically the last Nintendo Switch 1, as everyone likes to call it now, focused Direct before the March 1. Yep. Steven is showing part of it there. We got 4 days for the next one. So they had 2 non-game announcements, and I wanted to pull those out and talk about them first because I thought they were interesting, and then we'll talk about the games that were shown. So the first non-game announcement that Steven was hinting at is a new Nintendo app called Nintendo Today. This is basically a iOS or Android app that they can deliver news directly outside of directs, as they worded it. That way, they've already used it for a couple little surprises. Like this is how they're going to show like what games are coming to Nintendo Switch Online for some of the stuff. They all of a sudden dropped the Legend of Zelda live action movie release date, which is going to be March 27th, 2027. So
I'll be 48.
Yeah, we got a little bit of time on that one. And then they also said after next week's Switch 2 Direct, they will be continuing to put information about the system out on this. So I'm hoping they don't just make us use the app to find out like the actual launch date or the price or pre-orders and stuff. I'm hoping it's just like little extra information,
I'm hoping they treat it like press release. So when they announce a game, you can read about the game on the app.
Yes. One thing Rachel and I figured out beforehand, because we were wondering about it, they don't have any holidays listed on the calendar. I even went and looked for Christmas. It wasn't there. So
well, there's a reason behind it. It's not your calendar.
It's their calendar. Yeah. Yes.
So, no, I get it.
So no alarms. No putting any of your own personal stuff. The beauty of it, which I needed so badly, is you can turn on push notifications for all their games. Yep. And I desperately needed it for Tetris 99 because I missed Donkey Kong, but I made the Xenoblade Chronicles X one. Nice. As Chris would attest to, we're always just like, shit, every Monday or Sunday that we're almost about to miss the Tetris 99 event. So
we always just turn the thing on and we say, okay.
And they'll just like put a video out there. Yeah, they'll put a video out there and then you'll forget it because it gets buried in the news on the Switch. Yep. But now you can look on the calendar and be like, oh, okay, it tells you about all the about the mobile games, but then you go and you add every game from Nintendo. Like, I want to know about this one too. I was like, I want to know when an in-game event happens. I was like, that's brilliant. I was like, I already have Google Calendar, so I can add my events there. I'm good. But I have Alarmo for my alarms.
Mine's set to random, so right now it's on Splatoon. But you can do Splatoon, Mario, Pikmin, The Legend of Zelda, Animal Crossing. I think that's it. I think there may have been a Donkey Kong. I have to go back and look.
They should do MEO, the Mysterious Man, so they can tell you when you're going to die or something.
I would enjoy that because MEO, I really like that game.
Day.
Yeah, I'd be like, well, at least now I know. Yeah, I know what vacation days to take now. Used up all my time before that. So, I understand it's their calendar. I was just kind of curious if they would have any of that other stuff listed on it. One random theory or thought that I had just for fun, if it's supposed to be a calendar setup for them and you can set it for alarms and notifications, like you said, could we ever see some kind of integration with Alarmo where like you get woken up and like, hey, it's the Switch Direct Day or something can pop up, or get your notifications on the clock telling you, hey, these are the
see them doing that interplay, but you'd have to like probably opt in for it.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, it would be. I mean, you have to buy the Alarmo first and do all that, but that'd be kind of a fun way. Steven be waking up in the morning going, oh God, Tetris. Have it remind you. Maybe even give you Tetris music.
I love my Alarmo because it turns off unless it senses movement. So when I wake up in the middle of the night, I can just move my head and it tells me what time it is, and I can lay back down. Don't have to look at my phone. Don't have to do anything. I'm just like, whoop, okay, it's that much. Okay.
I'm probably going to get one. I started seeing them in stores, and I'm like, I'm just one of these paydays. I'm going to run into it and be like, all right, I'm just going to break down and go ahead and grab it. Just for the curiosity of it.
Yeah, because I had to turn off for the most part, I had to turn off the alarms of Alarmo because a lot of them have you motioning to get out of bed. But because I sleep in between two cats, and my wife is also next to me as well, right. I was like, there's way too much movement, so everybody's gonna turn off my alarms. I can't have that.
Very true. We thought about like getting one because I wanted to mess around with one, but then Jennifer might enjoy it, even though she is unhealthily getting up early. I don't know what that child just gets up at the crack of dawn. And you're just like, okay, all right, whatever.
My cat likes making the little Mario move across the screen on it.
So, all right. So now on to the other non-game announcement they had. So Nintendo announced a change to basically the digital rights management system for the Nintendo Switch and the Switch 2, they pointed out, with virtual game cards. So the idea behind this is they're saying like part of the reason I buy physical copies of Switch games is so I can share them with all the people in my house. We've got at least 5 or 6 Switches in this place that we're just swapping cartridges out. But if we get digital titles, which I do like to get for Jennifer's Switch, or sometimes I pick them up, you can't easily share them without having to give out like your login information and everything. It's kind of a pain. So this way, they're making a dedicated part of the system where your digital titles, which we don't know if third-party counts, this may only be specific Nintendo games or just first-party titles. They didn't show. I went through and looked. I didn't see any third-party even listed.
We'll probably know more after the update, yeah.
Yeah, which this update's not going to be till late April. So we got about a month or so. And I have a feeling this is kind of leading into the interface of the Switch 2. I think that's part of why this is all being announced now, because this will be tied into it. But you'll have a dedicated section on the front end of your Switch for these digital cartridges, or the virtual game cards, sorry. You can click on, see what you have, but it allows you to share them in a couple of fun ways. First off, if you have more than one Switch, which some people do, they have like a normal Switch and then a Switch Lite, or eventually you're going to have a Switch and a Switch 2, you can take these titles and move them back and forth between 2 specific systems that you can set up. You just have to go online the first time to sync them, and then you can just be there locally and just move them around with no time limit for those 2 systems, which is kind of nice. So if there's only 2 of you living in your house, just link them together if you're doing that, and you're golden. The other way that they have it is where you can share with your family plan. And what that is, if you have the family plan for Nintendo Switch Online, that's up to 8 people that are in your family group. Then you can take these games and loan 8 of them out, or up to 8, 1 per person. They'll get the game. They'll be able to keep it for 14 days. And that way it'll automatically be returned. So, if you loan it to some like your cousin and the kid runs off and then it's like, I don't want to return it, it's going to come back automatically in 2 weeks. So give it time. Some of this will be useful. Some people are still going to want to use the internet version, but are you guys going to have any use for this or have any thoughts on this? I know, Steven, I know you had a couple on that one, so I'll let you start.
I have a couple uses, mainly because sometimes I'll buy a game that I think my wife will like, so now I don't have to give her my Switch, or I don't have to try to download it and use my profile on her Switch. I can say, here, you play it, and if you like it, you can buy it. So,
right.
Because originally I bought Final Fantasy VII for her on her account, and it was more of a mess because like you can't gift somebody money or anything like that.
Yeah,
you have to buy them the card.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to come in handy there because I play a lot of like demos or I get a lot of quirky games, and then if I think she'll like one of them, I can now just be like, oh, if I have it digitally, I'll just switch it over there. With the family plan, it's not going to work with Chase, unfortunately, because he's too far from a local connection.
Yeah. You have to be local wireless in order to do this, which kind of sucks.
I also think this is a unique way of kind of fighting some of the piracy problems out there. So I think this is nothing but a good thing. It's not, like you said, it's not mandatory.
Yeah.
It's just something that, for some people make things easier. So it's kind of like the parental app that they came out with that I have for the sole function that you can remotely turn off your Switch with the app.
Really? I didn't even know that.
So if the kid's just saying like I'm never gonna stop playing, you can just go in the parental app and turn off the system remotely. And ever since then, I was just like, they know what they're doing. but again, it's optional. So I think it'll work out fine. If you don't like it, don't use it.
Yeah.
This will be also a good way to let, like, your friends and family, like, really test out games that you might really enjoy but not sure about them liking it.
Yeah.
But also, like, that's now, mind you, if that is if this is available for third party games. I think that they will be opt-in, like the third party that made these games will have to basically opt into that feature. It'll have to be a thing that's part of the programming when they put it on the eShop. They'll be like, "Do you want this thing to be on be able to become a virtual game card?" And they have to select yes. So I don't think it will be like an automatic thing for everybody. Like major third party games, maybe I will expect that, but like the little indie games, maybe not. But yeah, I think it'll be useful for sharing games with other people that they might not have gotten to play otherwise, and it might prompt them to go out and buy it, especially if you can keep your save data.
Yeah, that's the save data. We're going to talk about that in a minute because that's been a bit of an issue as well. Go ahead, Steven.
The other thing that I just thought of, because that's how it works, that would be great too, is now if somebody is visiting you and says something and is part of your plan, and says, "Hey, I'm going on like a trip, a plane ride, something like that. Is there anything I can play of yours?" And you can look through your digital library and be like, "Do you want one of these?" And they'll be like, "Sweet, I'll play Tears of the Kingdom." And then you lend it to him, and you don't have to worry about it. He can take it to Greece for all you care, because it's digital.
Coming back in 14 days, yeah.
And it'll work and come back in 14 days anyway. So he's got it for his vacation, and you don't feel like, oh, is he going to drop it in the tub? Is he going to lose it while he's touring and stuff like that? So I think it's got a lot of implications for, for families that even travel a lot or have to go around a lot, that they can be like, here, borrow this while I'm away and stuff like that. So I think that's pretty good.
It sounds like it'd be kind of a safety thing too, because like say you are traveling and someone steals that Switch, like it sucks they're going to lose that stuff, but your game will come back no matter what.
Yeah.
After that time period, because you have a good point. Like, are they going to drop it or what's going to happen? Chris, did you have any thoughts on this, or you are muted and we cannot hear you?
Sorry about that. It's a cool idea. The only thing, I'm glad the save data exists, because if you lend somebody an RPG, 2 weeks is not going to be enough by a long shot.
Nope.
So at least you can, hopefully there's no limit on lending, because then if they really like it, you have the cartridge so you can play at the same time they do. So there's nothing stopping you from lending it to them over and over again.
Well, when you lend out the virtual game card for the digital copy, you cannot play it. They treat it like if you were loaning them the actual cartridge is the idea behind it.
There are no virtual game cards for physical then?
No. It's only for the digital titles. Because they want it to be as close to like why I buy physical copies is so I can share them in the house. But just like a physical cartridge, if I give Jennifer, a copy of Kirby to go play, then I can't play that copy. She's playing it.
Well, that makes sense too.
Yeah. Right. And I think that might be their ace in the hole, where they can kind of loop in third-party games, because they're already going to be agreeing to some of the licensure of how those digital rights are handled. And this is just a change in that, but it still maintains the one ownership with the account on the family plan. So I'm hopeful for third party.
I think for kids, it's going to be incredible when they're like, I want to borrow my brother's game. And my brother's like, well, to be fair, I want to borrow one of his games. And you'd be like, both can have it for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I want to see how that works in both directions, because that'd be kind of cool. Can like the boys, my two sons, can they share games between themselves, or can I borrow games from them? Or because I'm the leader of the family, like I set up the account. And then we do have one friend that's not in our house. He's the local band director, a good friend of mine. But I see him enough that, I could go, run with him one day. And because you don't have to be online other than the very first time you set it up, I can just show up and be like, hey, you guys try this game. And I can just give it to him while I'm there. And then he can have it for 2 weeks and try it out. And if he likes it, great. If he doesn't, whatever. So it's kind of a fun way for that. But yeah, there's no way to do it online. So if your family's extended, you can't share it that way. I kind of hope they would figure out a way to do that, but I guess that would
open piracy.
Yeah, that would require more.
Once you have
connection.
Online sharing, then someone's just going to make a Switch Napster. It's going to be a mess.
Yeah, they'll have to figure out a way around it. The biggest question though is on when you're switching between the two Switches, sharing your game between like two you have. How does the game save data work? Because it's not like you just upload it and download it. There's some games, I'll get to you in just a sec, Steve. There's some games like Animal Crossing where it is system specific, hardware specific. You cannot move your island without going through a whole complicated thing with Nintendo and their own separate app just to move it. So we'll have to see, because like my Animal Crossing is digital, and if I could move that to, try it on the Lite or something, we'll see. But go ahead, Steven.
I think they covered it, but they didn't explain it.
Oh, okay.
Fact that unlike lending, as you saw in the video, when he had the virtual game card, when you're taking it out of that Switch, you eject it. So you eject everything associated with it, your save game, everything with it. So I think if you eject the virtual game card for Animal Crossing, the save data will go with it to whatever hardware then you put it into to be the new house for it. Because it's not like lending. It's not like you need a local connection for that. That's a one-way street. Eject, put it in this one, and then you can eject it out of that one, put it in that one. So I think it's taking everything with it, making it so you can't make duplicates, so you can't go crazy with Pokemon or Animal Crossing.
Nice. Yeah, I'm hoping, like I said, Animal Crossing is the main one because you can't copy the file normally. So I'm hoping they finally found a way around that, which would be great. So, but I guess you could use the link if you're just sharing with, like, you've got a family member in the house, like you and your wife, or, me and my band director friend. I could technically make his Switch the second Switch. We could swap the games around. There wouldn't be a time limit, but I guess maybe your save would go around, so that wouldn't work. Because
basically those are, a lot of those are, you're taking everything to do with that game and moving it to another system. You're literally doing the Pikmin thing on your 3DS. They're picking it up and they're taking it over there, everything. So that's why with that one, it's more of a process to eject and put it in another system. So they're expecting people to do it slowly as they want to play games on their Switch, not just be like, I want to put all of it, because they'll probably have a transfer option for people who want to just do all of it.
Yeah, as I was talking about it, I was like, oh yeah, I've kind of talked myself out of that making sense. You can watch in real time. It's like, oh yeah, no wait. All right, so that's all of the non-game stuff. Let's talk about the surprisingly robust final Switch 1 specific direct for games. Like, they actually came to bear. All right, so starting right off, we had Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D remake coming in 2025. For a lot of people, if you're wondering why 3 came out first and this one is now coming out now, 3 chronologically actually takes place first, then this one. So they actually released it in the proper order, but it doesn't sound right. So
I can still hear that music in my head.
Oh, Amanda heard the horn intro and immediately was like, "What?"
Oh yeah, it's summonable. Like, it will summon people, including me.
To me, my friends, and just start playing it.
Mm-hmm.
Chris, I know you're looking forward to this one, right?
Dragon Quest 1 and 2, yeah.
Oh yeah.
I just finished the first one. Not the first, the third. First one that came out on the Switch.
Chronologically, the first one.
Weird Final Fantasy naming conventions where the games are out of order, but they're really not.
Well, there is a reason for it, but I'm not going to go into it. But a lot of my online friends are huge on the Dragon Quest series, so they've been chomping at the bit. They want me to play this. They want me to play Suikoden. So, all that junk.
And it's connected to in some ways, Erdrick or whatever is connected to the latest Dragon Quest. So.
Indeed. So yes. It's something, HD 2D is nice, and I really hope they do it with Chrono Trigger. That would be really cool.
Oh man, that would look so nice.
HD 2D, I think, is a really fun way to bring back a lot of those older 2D style RPGs. Now, Rachel and I's good friend Joey.
I can hear him screaming in the distance.
He is so mad right now.
Absolutely seething. He's probably woken up from a nap or something and sat straight up and going, Rachel and Jeremy are talking about HD 2D in a positive light and I can't stand it. That's what he's thinking.
Hates it.
He hates it.
Oh, he hates it. We love you, Joey.
We love you, Joey. If he watches these, I don't know.
I'll get on to him later and tell him about it. So I'm probably going to get this. I have to actually finish playing 3. I started it. But it's
same.
God, it looks so good. The Switch has got me to play more RPGs than I think any system in history, because I can just move it around. It's so convenient.
The fact that you were playing any RPGs at all is very impressive to me, because I remember for a very long time you would not. You just didn't. You play a little bit of it and then stop.
I tried, but now if I get bored, I just pick it up and walk off and go sit somewhere else. All right, let's move on to the next one here. All right, next we had kind of a surprise. This is Raidou Remastered, The Mystery of the Soulless Army, coming out June 19th.
I got to
also
hear
known
Chris
as
gasp.
Devil Summoner. Say what?
I got to hear Chris gasp.
Well, ironically, just a few weeks ago, when I was testing out that video equipment I was talking about, I had the PS2 hooked up. So Jeremy grabbed his copy of this game he bought, and he spent like over $100 on it because he loves this series and wanted to get it. And we sat here in the game room playing the opening and messing around with it. So when I saw it on the trailer, I was like, oh, I know this one. I actually know this game. So I'm actually looking for, I know he's going to get it. And if he ends up buying it digitally, maybe I could just borrow it from him. We'll see.
This next one, I gasped when I saw it. And I will tell you what I actually said once y'all.
Yeah, I'm going to go into mine as well.
Next one you need to watch the secret level episode on it.
Yeah, I had not done that yet, but we'll get to that one in just a moment. Chris, did you have anything else you wanted to say about this one? Because I know this is a series that is near and dear to you as well as my son.
Well, I'm glad to finally be able to play it because I missed it the first time around, and it's nice to know that the gameplay is better, because they said in a following direct, which I, just from Atlas, that the gameplay for the second game was the preferred type, and they made the first gameplay like the second. Well, there you go.
Okay, so we have modifications from the second one and the first, but this is still just the first game.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
They you could probably watch it, but they out of nowhere they had a Raidou direct after the Nintendo Direct.
I didn't see that.
Where they talked to the creator and said like why he decided to call it Raidou Remastered and not Devil Summoner.
Raidou Kuzunoha the 14th versus the Soulless Army. Yes.
And everybody's just like, well, everybody knows the name, and less people know the name Devil Summoner because there's so many games that have the devil in its name. So he's like, but Raidou people connected with. So there's a lot that he said about it. But the big thing was like, yeah, he's just like, people hated the first one's battle system.
I messed with it and it was interesting, but I didn't get deep into it. We played it for about half an hour and stopped.
And there's a mode that I told Christian he should play, an easy mode where you can't die.
That's no fun.
A little bit of challenge is good. All right, let's move on to our next one. And I think this one surprised the living hell out of all of us.
Oh, yeah.
So next up, we have Shadow Labyrinth coming out July 18th. First off, I have to say this game is, and there's a couple of them, this direct, are absolutely just beautiful 2D games.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love the art style of it, all the little details. And we basically got a nice little lush selection of that this time.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a Metroidvania, which is already immediately caught my interest. And I was watching it, and I'm like, well, this is kind of funny. They got a little character with it. Oh, they called it Puck. Oh, that's funny. That's a reference back to Pac-Man. Holy shit, that is Pac-Man.
Yeah, so I didn't know about Puck. Like, my brain had conveniently forgotten that that's a reference to Pac-Man. The moment I saw it, I was like, what is this, evil Pac-Man? That's like spooky ass Pac-Man? And I'm sitting here going, evil ass Pac-Man? What? Like, and I'm literally, this is what I'm saying to myself as I watch this, and I'm just like, what secrets does this evil Pac-Man hold? Like, is he really secretly the villain? Are we being used by Pac-Man? And then it got to it at the very end when it's literally said, Pac-Man, and I was like, what? Like, I didn't expect that to actually be what it was.
Right. Go ahead, Steven.
So what's interesting is this website that hasn't been updated since 2014. Bandai Namco runs this website called the United Galaxy Space Force. Mm-hmm. It basically takes certain Namco games and puts them in a connected universe together. So right now, Shadow Labyrinth is part of the timeline alongside Ace Combat 3, Dig Dug, Galaga, and Mr. Driller. Those are all the same universe, and it gives you a timeline of when things happened to involve all those characters.
I just have to see how the hell Ace Combat has anything to do with the rest of these.
So when this was in 2014?
It was the last time.
The last time they updated it was 2014, depending on what game came out at that time. But now they have another game that adds into their timeline. I'm going to put it on our Discord again because I was like, it was fascinating to realize that there was a multiverse for
a multiverse of Bandai Namco.
Yeah,
Pac-Man.
This is some Legend of Zelda timeline level stuff. I'm waiting for them to put a book out. Yeah, the Namco-verse. But I want to get this game. I'm very hopeful they have a physical release for it, as I always am.
No, they do. They have
good.
Unlike the next game.
I think some of you guys got overloaded with news because this was announced at the Game Awards, and it was fantastic when they first showed it off. Then the secret level gave more lore into it, which was even better because I was fascinated by it. And then, of course, they did announce the collector's edition where you get a giant menacing-looking Pac-Man statue and stuff. So I was like, I'm getting that.
I could put that next to my mecha suit Pac-Man that I have. You can open the head of it, and it has a little Pac-Man driving it.
Is exclusive to the Namco store, though, so you have to get it there.
Oh, shit. That's going to be tough.
You have to pay their $20 shipping.
As long as I can order it, that's fine. I had to pay that to get the Pac-Man I was talking about. But yeah, that was one of the first really big surprises for me that I was like, okay, I have to have this game. Like, looks so much fun. But just watching is like, and I think part of what caught me, Rachel, because as you were watching it, you paid attention to the whole thing. I was still working at the time. So like right there towards the opening where he merges with him and he's running around eating the pellets like Pac-Man, I had turned away for a moment and turned back and completely missed that. So I didn't know it was Pac-Man until they merged and he started grabbing stuff and eating it in the big robot form. And I was like, what the shit? I'm in the middle of the lab going, holy crap, dude, it's Pac-Man. So fun times. All right, let's move on to the first of 2 Sony games, which is surprising. And yes, Rachel, this is getting a physical release. Just
not here.
Yeah, but we can get the UK one. Who cares? All right. So this I never thought I would see again, specifically on a Nintendo system.
It's so great for it, though.
Oh, it's perfect. It's basically a giant PSP. Patapon 1+2 Replay coming out July 11th. I still remember all the little patterns and rhythms. Right, just doing all that stuff to play.
Yes.
And the art style scales up beautifully, so it's not going to be difficult to do.
I remember being in high school, having my little silver PSP. Oh, man, I got to crack up my PSP again and play that.
Check your battery, make sure it's
not spoiled. I love that it has a quick reference card option.
Oh, yes, I love that at the bottom. Yes. But I remember playing it in the school library at Mosley. Just playing it.
You went to Mosley
with my headphones in. And people wondering, what in the hell is she playing?
That was definitely a game you really needed to play with headphones on. Like you could use the screen flash and do the rhythm, but it was just so much better with headphones.
Mm-hmm. It was 100%.
Steven, Chris, did you guys ever play Patapon that much? Were you into it?
I have the demos on my PSP discs.
I played a little bit, but I never finished the game. So maybe this time we'll see.
Rachel, this is a me and you joint on this one because I still have both of my copies for PSP. I moved them over, got versions to play, I think digitally for Vita.
Watch Switch 2 launch game, Loco Moco.
Yeah, I was so happy to see this. That's a weird thing though, is in the US, we're not getting a physical copy. They are in Japan, in Europe, and other regions. So this will be one I end up ordering,
Why though? I wonder why.
Many reasons, probably. We're going to start seeing less physical games. I'm kind of curious with everything going on, how VGP is going to do with sending games, or if that's going to slow down. But we'll see. All right, on to our next one. Story of Seasons, Grand Bazaar, coming out August 27th. Not too much to say about this one. It's a it's a version of an older game. They added in that you can glide on the wind. I just wanted
Thank you, Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out the fact I still find the design of the cows so damn weird that their heads are almost the equal mass of their body. They're adorable, but that would be a hellish life size. They look like hippos. Like just like you can milk a hippo.
I can't laugh right now. My voice is bad.
I'm not wrong though. It looks like a damn splotchy hippo that you milk. None of that sounds right. All right, let's jump to the game we really want to talk about. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. Still no release date, just says 2025. So I'm wondering if this is eventually going to be given the release date for Switch 2, because some people are thinking, hey, maybe this will release the same day as Switch 2. So maybe that's why they don't want to give the date, or it'll just be later this year, and who knows. But damn, this looked really good. What did you guys think of it? Steven, I'll start with you.
I like the armor at the end. That's my color style right there. Black and red.
Yeah, I went, ooh, shadow.
I was laughing when I was watching reactions and people were like, so what's the hook this time? He should get psychic ability. They're like, there it is.
Yeah, that black and red armor, I referred to it as midlife crisis Samus mode.
Shadow.
She got the sports car armor.
She's going through her emo phase.
Well, she already has a gun, so
she's going through her emo phase.
Yeah. Chris, what about you?
It looks interesting, but now I have to play 2 and 3, so I have a lot to do.
So one thing that was kind of interesting about this, I guess we didn't really mention before, but during the video game, the digital video card thing, they also kind of hinted that it would work for Switch and Switch 2 and then Switch enhanced games. That was kind of in some of the little subtext there. So people are wondering if there's going to be Switch 2 releases of certain titles. I'm hoping if they do that, they're going to kind of do it like PlayStation does, where you can, if you have the game, you can just either pay for a small update or just have it update like Xbox would do.
I hope they just do the Xbox way.
Yeah, I prefer that for sure. We just put it in and let it.
I don't want to have to find it in the store. Just give me the better version.
Yeah. And then they might release like a cartridge that's Switch 2 specific with everything already on it. But given the main power in this one of using the psychic powers to move the shots and things around, that kind of screams using a mouse. Like you could use a mouse to steer it around. So I'm wondering with Switch 2 enhancement, could you use the Joy-Con as a mouse while you're playing to smoothly move things around? So
maybe, or they might just do the stick waggle thing.
They could, but they're going to want to find a way to just shove that mouse function in there if they can.
Maybe. It would be difficult with portability, though.
Yeah, I mean, you could set it down on a table for the way they have it set up and do it, but I'm sure it's still going to have normal control function because it's a Switch 1 title as well. But it'll be kind of neat if they have that option where you could play it almost like an FPS, where you've got a mouse for movement, and you can use a controller for the other hand or whatever. So
could work.
Maybe you press the C button to change the control scheme.
Oh boy.
Yeah, they did manage to leak out their own C button again and during the their app reveal, but we still don't know what the hell it does. We got 4 more days. We'll figure it out.
Maybe they'll tell us.
I hope to God they do after this time. They better tell us. They just have a Switch 2 for the entire presentation. They don't even turn it on. Just moving on. All right, now onto the one game we're
all talking about.
Yeah, I gave no shits for this one. I'm sorry. This looked like a bad cell phone game. So Disney Villains Cursed Cafe, which is available now. So right now you cannot give a damn.
It's cursed, all right.
Yeah. I've seen more animation in a Flash game on Newgrounds.
What the hell did they do to Captain Hook?
I don't know.
They made him a preppy guy.
That's not
but
Captain
they
Hook.
Shrunk him.
He looks like
Peter Pan is bigger than he is.
Wait. You know in the second the Goofy movie sequel where he's in college?
I don't remember that one. I'm 45 years old. I probably skipped that point in my life.
Everybody remembers a Goofy movie, not the sequel.
You don't remember the sequel?
What's it called? I'm
Iconic
Goofy
disco,
too?
the iconic disco,
The extremely goofy movie.
the extremely goofy movie. Yeah, the
extremely
iconic,
forgettable Goofy movie. I got it.
the iconic disco scene between Goofy and the librarian. Anyway, there's a college preppy dude that is Max's rival in this movie, and the way that he's dressed is very similar to the way Captain Hook is dressed in this game. And I'm like, when I saw it, I was like, oh, James, what did they do to you?
I'm just like, hey, Captain, did you fall and land on Dream Daddy? Like, what happened?
I just want to know if you're making these potions and things for people, and most of these people that have used these potions have tried to kill people. Is this the most adorable like you're assisting in murder? Like,
and because Isma shows up, can you make poison for Cusco?
It's Cusco's poison, of course.
Yeah, the poison for Cusco.
That joke had better damn well be in there. I'm not playing this to find out. I'll look on YouTube. But if you bring her in, you have to have that joke. That and The Wrong Lever. Love that movie. All right, let's move away from this. We'll get away from it as fast as they seem to have gotten away from their animators when they fired them to make this. All right, next up we have Witchbrook coming holiday 2025.
Finally.
I was not aware of this game, Rachel. Fill us in, because you apparently seem to know about this.
Okay. So it was announced... Excuse me. It was announced years ago by the people who made, Stardew Valley.
Oh.
Yes. And they showed a little teaser and everyone's like, yeah, Wizard School. Yeah, pixel shit. Yeah.
I mean, I do love pixel art. I will give you that.
Everyone was freaking out about it, right? And then nothing was said about it for months, maybe a year, maybe a long time, because he started making that Chocolate Factory game. And so that's what he was focusing on, and doing that kind of thing, and he's just a guy. And then finally, someone said something about it, and he's like, no, it's coming, I promise you it's coming, it's being worked on. And then now, of course, surprise, Witchbrook in the last 2 directs, and I was just like, oh, thank God. Admittedly, the thing I seem to be most excited about of this game is that it doesn't involve farming or fishing.
Yeah.
No, I don't need it. I need a game that is life sim like this, that involves doing cute things and cool things and stuff like that, that doesn't involve farming and fishing. I'm tired of it.
You still have to harvest stuff and
That's
make
fine.
items to sell.
That's fine. I'm fine with that. I don't want to farm and I don't want to fish.
You need to harvest some fish and some carrots.
Yeah. So, but you want me to grow herbs for my potions and other ingredients for my potions? That's fine, but I don't want to manage a farm as my primary thing.
What if you're an herbalist?
You're in college, okay? Unless that's part of the whole game, is you are at a prestigious wizarding university, and you can play with up to 4 friends on online co-op, guys. We can play together and do wizard shit. It's gonna be so great. Shit. It's gonna be great and so cute. I'm excited, and I can't believe I have to wait until holiday season. They should put it out at the end of summer so everybody can play it during spooky time. Darn it.
That would make sense.
But no.
All right.
Anyway,
so...
that's enough for me.
Well, now that we know about that one, let's jump into our next game. All right. So The Eternal Life of Goldman, coming out holiday 2025. This is the other game that I was absolutely in love with the animation style of it, because everything is hand drawn in this game. But then it finally clicked later when I was watching the video again. Holy crap, this is basically a DuckTales-like.
Woo!
Yeah, I saw a video recently that was doing some little joke about DuckTales, and they cut the video off right before that, and I was like, that should be a crime. Anyways, so you play as this old man trying to defeat this demon, and you have his cane that you can modify and do stuff, but he is literally pogoing around on this cane, just like Scrooge McDuck did in the old DuckTales titles. And I love that mechanic, so I'm excited for this one. Chris, I was kind of curious if you've watched this one, your take on the animation style, how the details and stuff.
It's very nice, and I'm glad they're still doing things like this. I don't know if I'd be interested in a game of that nature if not for the animation style, but yes, the pogo jump is a nice touch.
Not a DuckTales fan for the game.
DuckTales is DuckTales.
I mean, as a game,
along the lines of what is this game's story kind of thing. So we'll see. It has potential. I'll say that.
Steven just ran off to get something, and I wouldn't even say anything except for it was super hilarious watching him walk off for a second and then just kind of scoot by in the background.
This is very important because it's probably DuckTales related.
It's probably DuckTales related, as it should be.
It's not DuckTales related.
Oh, it's not DuckTales related. All right. Well, we tried. Rachel, what did you think about this one when you saw it?
Oh, I just was like, oh, old man with cane. Cool.
I didn't make the DuckTales connection the first time either until I heard it later. I was like, oh, shit. All right. Steven, what about you?
I was just like, yeah, this looks good, but if it's too much, if it's just DuckTales mixed with Silk songs, then I'm out. I do not want a roguelike or a Souls-like with DuckTales controls.
I'm about to say, I don't think it's supposed to be a Souls-like. It looked like it was just kind of old school hard just for normal platforming, but I would hope that would kind of be the case.
Yeah, I need to see more because it was thrown at us like this. So.
Yeah, I did go back. A lot of these got individual trailers, and I tried posting some of them on the Discord as well because they would show more during the longer trailers that they released afterwards, especially later on when we get into the games where they just kind of had a quick run of them. You get to see a lot more. All right. Next up, we had Gradius Origins coming out August 2nd. This includes the following titles with multiple versions and regions included, which is great. But you get Gradius Salamander, Life Force, Gradius Gopher, weird name, Gradius 3, Salamander 2, and then the all-new Salamander 3 that they have done for this one, which includes multiplayer too. And Steven was grateful enough to send me on the Discord that Limited Run Games is making a physical copy of this, so I get my Gradius. The
collector's edition is insane with like the thing that makes music and the interchangeable. I still might just go for the classic edition, though, just to get the box art that looks like NES.
Yeah, because I believe Gradius is one of the ones I have still in the box for NES, like the handful of actual box titles. So that would be kind of nice. Go ahead, Steven.
However, I need to put on my Twitter hat for a second. So, I don't think this is a really good collection. It's missing Rebirth. It's missing Gradius 4. It's missing Gradius 5. There's no Gradius for NES. Where's my Game Boy Gradius? Where's Parodius? To call this a collection, it's just a piece of shit.
Did you go all the way just to get that hat?
Yeah. It's gonna be my Twitter hat from now on when I have to talk like the idiots on social media.
You need a dumber trucker hat. You should not sully the NES controller like that.
No, I'll sully it. It's okay.
I love that
because
controller.
it still has a sticker on it, so I'm like one of those guys.
Oh my god. Actually, did they verify that the NES version of Gradius is not in this? Because I know they said there's different versions and regions that
Correct.
are included.
This is
doing just the arcade.
This is doing the unfortunate Konami thing where when they do a certain collection, they're going to omit a bunch of titles because of what it's named. So, we're not going to give you, for like the Konami Arcade Classics, we're going to put Haunted Castle in there because that's not a classic at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's a horrible, horrible game. But then when they make this one, they're calling it Origins, so they don't have to give you Rebirth, NES, or any of the others. They're just like, here's a bunch of arcade games, and here's some really badly, here's some bad conversions of Japanese versions. And I was just like, oh, okay.
I was kind of hopeful because M2 is doing this, and they almost always deliver on a lot of these collections. So I still want to get it.
I still want it too. It was just funny that they're like, "Where's 4 and 5 in Rebirth?" And I was like, "It's Origins. It's not complete collection." That's how they get you. When they gave you the Castlevania collection, they gave you all the Castlevanias you wanted.
Mm-hmm.
When you wanted the Castlevania DS collection, you got all the Castlevanias. But when you got Konami Arcade Classics, you got some garbage in there.
For sure. So other than Steven and I, Chris or Rachel, you guys into the old school side scroll shooters at all? I kind of assume not. Don't take it wrong. It just doesn't seem like something you would play, Rachel.
I mean, I like the pretty colors. Maybe I'll watch other people play it, or maybe I'll play it for like 5 minutes. But I'm not like, it's not something I'm going to go out and play,
Right. Steven?
I also want to mention this is the first game that started the Jeremy effect. Because when they did this trailer, they called it Gradius, not Gradius. They called it Gradius. And this starts it for a while. There's a few games in this list that they pronounce differently, and you're like, what? So, yeah.
Yeah, there's one that we're going to talk about because as soon Amanda and I both heard it and we looked at each other going, that's not how that's said. But we'll get to that. Before we go on, though, Chris, is this one you're going to be interested in, or...
Gradius is actually one of the first NES games I've played, so I'm probably going to get into shmups and things like that again.
Nice.
Although, I do think that Konami should just get their stuff straight and offer complete collections. Castlevania complete.
Mm-hmm.
Gradius complete. But I know they're not going to do that because money. So...
Yeah, I think they've done better jobs, at least with Castlevania. I know it's been 3 separate ones that they've done, but like getting the Game Boy Advance ones together, the DS ones together, and then kind of fitting the rest of them seemed to work out well because they had kind of specifics for how they would work. The biggest thing is I love that they put so much effort into like the art and everything else. Capcom is really good about that too. So we shall see. All right, moving on. So after this, let me scroll down here a little bit. We had Rift of the NecroDancer, which is also available now. This one had like a lot of DLC and stuff coming with it, or being available for it for different games, starting with Celeste. I think I saw the character from Pizza Tower was in there. There was something with 3 people dancing that looked like mole suits. I did not know what game that was. Somebody please tell me if you know. Because I didn't know what title that was referencing at all.
I have no idea.
Steven, Chris, you're my only hope.
It must be some.
That's a no.
It must be some stuff that was only released where we are not at.
Well,
Turnip Boy commits tax evasion. I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea either. But I mean, it still looks like it's fun. I like rhythm games, and the Crypt of the NecroDancer has been kind of a fun series. So.
Mm-hmm.
Why not become a Rift of the NecroDancer? I wonder if it supports any of the guitars that they re-released. I don't think they made one for the Switch. Good question. Though. I don't think they made one for Switch though. I think they did Xbox, PlayStation, PC, and Wii. Weirdly enough,
I think because it's only 3 buttons, not really.
Probably not. Yeah. I don't know. I'm going to give it a try later. Let's go on to another title that I'm not going to try. Tamagotchi Plaza coming out. Oh, fuck you. It is Tamagotchi, and I will die on that hill.
He said Tamagotchi.
Yeah, he can be wrong.
That's just weird. I think it's a dialect thing. So
Steven, you and I were there when this originally happened. Tamagotchi, damn it.
I'm the same one whose brain broke. I looked at Chris and I was just like, have we been wrong?
I was like, we can't. I look like Skinner from The Simpsons. No, I'm not wrong. It's the kids that are wrong.
I literally, when I was watching this, I was like, have I been pronouncing it wrong for my entire life? And I went, no, I'm pretty sure I've seen advertisements straight out of Japan that calls it Tamagotchi. Like, who? Or maybe we're both right.
No, we're right. They're wrong.
I think we're both right.
Tamagotchi was just, it just sounds weird to say it. Tamagotchi, just done with it. This one, I recognize the little characters from the original toys and stuff, but it looked like it was just a series of mini games. Like, just kind of, it didn't look like there was much.
The Wii version that was Mario Party without steroids.
True. I think the only time I've ever had any fun with a Tamagotchi game on a console is I remember getting it on Game Boy, which was basically just a glorified, bigger version of an actual Tamagotchi.
So I think it's Animal Crossing Lite, where there's a lot of mini games, and you maybe have like a hub zone, like the Plaza.
Yeah, but it doesn't even really look like you build up much stuff. Like, you could level up a building and it gets a little bigger, but you're just kind of putting stuff together. I'm sure someone's gonna love it, and by all means, if you enjoy a game, I'm never gonna crap on someone for that. But
nostalgia is in, Jeremy. Nostalgia is cool, and this is nostalgic. It's very smart.
Yeah, I'll go get the actual Tamagotchi, or I found this while traveling and I had to buy it because it was ridiculous. I have an actual boxed version of the Game Boy game, like complete, which is ridiculous. So
they actually, quick segue. They actually announced a vape Tamagotchi, so if you forget to vape, it dies.
That should be fucking illegal.
It looks terrible. Amazing.
God.
You know the meme, the woman was too stunned to speak? That was me.
So when you die of lung cancer, you also kill your Tamagotchi, so they just bury it with you, I guess. Well, let's pass it down to Billy. He'll use it. Here, kid. Jesus. That's a terrible way to end this. It actually got worse. Thanks, Steven. Oh, moving on. All right, next we had Pokemon Legends ZA, which is coming out, still listed as late 2025. Is it just me, or does it feel like this was a better presentation, both in how the game was running, how it looked, and how they explained how the system worked, than the actual Pokemon Direct we got a few weeks ago? Because it looked really rough then. Like, I thought it was like, still in development, but it just, I don't know if this is just better editors. Like, maybe Pokemon was like, hey, we're going to show it how it is. And Nintendo's like, no, we're going to pick and choose the good stuff.
I kind of laughed when they said you could mug people now.
Oh, yeah. You could sneak up on them. Took me a second. I was like, what are you talking about? Oh, yeah.
You can mug other trainers.
So they explained more about how the wild zones worked, that they're spread around the city that you can go into to find Pokemon. We don't know the exact size of how big they're going to be. It's a pretty good sized city that this is going to be contained in. And people got to remember, this is a Legends game. It's not a mainline Pokemon. So keeping it contained to the one city, there's a little bit more wiggle room for that. You can kind of be, more restricted. But I do like that they pointed out there are Pokemon that you can find and catch and stuff outside of those areas, just naturally living, which they did show in the original trailer. Because you had Trebush, I think was the trash pile one, like in an alley and stuff like that. They did show more about at night for Lumio City. It changes to the ZA Royale that starts up, and there's different battle zones you can go into where there's different trainers that can challenge you if they see you. But as Steven said, he said mugging, but you could sneak up and get a first attack on somebody. And try and stun them and go from there for the fights. It does at least explain the name of ZA, because you start off as rank Z, and as you work your way up beating people, you go all the way up to rank A. So that may not be the only reason it's called ZA, but at least it's something. I get it, at least.
Well, it's also based on the character you kind of save in Pokemon X and Y.
Right.
His name is AZ. So.
Okay. I remember they mentioned him. Was it AZ or is his name ZA?
I think it's AZ.
Oh,
but
IDK.
There you go. IDK lol.
IDGAF.
I played that one back in the day because that was the 3DS one, or is it DS? I know I've played them. It's just been a long time.
Yeah, it was 3DS.
Okay. Yeah, it's just been a while. I don't know. I'm glad. Like I said, I'm glad to see the game looks like it's running better. So that's kind of nice. Or if we want to put on that conspiracy hat, maybe they were showing it running on Switch 2 and it was just running smoother. I really doubt that. I don't think they had anything other than a few mentions of Switch 2 in this thing. All right, let's move on then. So one of the other big surprises I got was just out of the blue, Rhythm Heaven Groove coming in.
I was so surprised about that.
I'm so happy. It's coming out in 2026. I was a little confused at first because my initial reaction was thinking this is a new WarioWare. I kind of thought that's where they were going with it at first. Chris, I know you're a big Wario guy. Did you kind of think that as well, or did you already figure out it was Rhythm Heaven pretty quick?
Well, they're both developed by the same group, so
that makes sense.
They're very similar, so I can see that.
Yeah.
Once I heard how they talked, I was like, "This isn't WarioWare."
I don't know. I mean, WarioWare's done some weird shit.
They're too quirky and cute doing that. Ooh, ooh.
Oh, that's true. It sucks it's 2026, but that also kind of points out like they're going to be supporting the original Switch for a long time. We're not going to see that thing just go away overnight like we did. This is not a Wii U situation where they were like, please move away from it as fast as you can.
Hey, they're still supporting the PS4 for some reason. I wonder why.
Yeah, because the market is there for it over their PS5.
Yes.
And the Switch has got one of the largest markets in history, and you don't just walk away from that. So
now let's show off a game that looks rougher than Borderlands.
Oh god, yeah, this one was terrible. So High on Life is coming out May 6th, and I have to wonder why. Like, if you're gonna port this, dear God, just put it on the Switch too. It looked so bad. Like in their trailer, I'm seeing people's like foreheads, their hair clipping in and out of their own skull.
I didn't see pieces of this game long enough in the trailer to see what things that you guys are describing.
It just looked rough. It looked like they ported it from 3DS.
And I get like there's been some great ports that have they play well and their graphics are kind of rough. And then there's other ones like this where it looks terrible and it looks like it's not running.
This was like the first version of Ark.
Oh god, that one's the worst. I don't think anything's going to be that bad. So this is from Squanch Games. It's from the same people that do. I just blanked on the name of the show.
It's okay. Everybody does.
Yeah, I hate that though because people are gonna be like, "Why are you not saying anything?"
Must be mortifying.
I keep wanting to say Doc and Marty, Rick and Morty.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, it was Doc and Marty. That's because it was a Back to the Future joke. So it's from them. So it's a lot of that same humor and so forth, and it does have some pretty funny stuff, but it's very raunchy humor. But yeah, it just looked really bad. So all right, moving on. So the next title is Star Overdrive, coming out April 10th, and this is one I've been looking at for a while. Apparently, there's a demo available right now, so I'm going to be downloading it to try it.
I'm going to do that right after I get off of this show because I remember I was really excited about it when they announced it. I was like, "Oh, this game looks so cool! Hell yeah!" And then, they said nothing about it, and then it was shown for a whole 5 seconds in this, and it's like, "Well, here's the release date," and we're like, "Whoa!" That's now, what I was like, yeah.
All these games in this section here, I tried posting the trailers. There's a much longer actual trailer that goes into the story and other stuff on there, so you can see more about it. This was just kind of a quick added in there.
I mean, sure. I saw the one that they did the longer one of when it was first announced, but I don't know if is there anything different on this other one?
No, I'm talking about the one that was just released that this was clips from. It just kind of goes a little bit more into the story and like, oh, it's coming out and all that stuff.
Yeah. See, that's what kind of bothers me about these directs is they do these quick fire things, and then they
Sizzle
expect
reel.
you to go and look, or they don't tell you that there's longer things that this is from.
I've just got to the point, always assume there's going to be a longer trailer or something coming out.
I don't know. Yeah. No. You need to hand feed me like I'm a child. I don't have the time to go out and look and research this kind of stuff.
Well, the beauty is if you were watching this on YouTube and you had it set to continue on, it should have jumped into those trailers after the direct. Sometimes.
Mine did not do that. It went to the previous direct before this one.
That's great. So, yeah, this one looks fun, like just chilling out and surfing around the world, which is kind of neat. So, all right. Next up, we had The Wandering Village coming July 17th. This one surprised me at my interest at it. It looks like a kind of mini Sim City, but you're on the back of this giant six-legged creature.
Reminds me of Populous.
Yeah, that's a good description.
Terry Pratchett, eat your heart out.
But I love the fact that this town is constantly walking, and it seems like you can see the map and have different directions you can go. So I'm like, do you have to meet certain criteria or do something to get it to turn? Like, is there a way to steer it? I want to know. It just looks fun. So, all right. Moving from that one. This game I know next to nothing about. I saw it and was like, it looks like a general shooter, but it's called King of Meat, coming 2025. Steven, looks like you said you wanted to say something. Go for it.
Yeah, this was another Game Awards thing. It's basically Fall Guys / Stumble Guys / Kirby's Gourmet Paradise, where instead of just trying to get to the end, it is a endless gauntlet of death. And you're just supposed to, I believe, die the least, but it's not apparently clear because how else are you the king of meat? So it remains to be seen, but it is just a much more violent Fall Guys.
Gotcha. All right. After that, we had Lose Lagoon coming summer 2025 that looked like a cute little kind of adventure game wandering around. Go ahead, Steven.
So this one is getting some talk behind the scenes with some people interested in it, because if you look into it, there's actually a gameplay aspect of this where you can change properties of the world on the fly. So you can change the graphics of you can change the water into lava to solve a certain puzzle or to get through a certain thing. So you can just change properties of the world.
That's interesting.
Yeah, their trailer didn't explain that very well. It looked like she was like farming stuff out of it or just kind of
it wasn't until I watched somebody else who was doing a deep dive into it. He was just like, this game's going to be so great because you get to do this.
Like, okay. I kind of like the twist on that. All right, neat. All right, and this next game I already have to buy 2 copies of. I've already been told that. Jennifer wants it so bad. Fantasy Life I, The Girl Who Steals Time, coming May 21st. She is counting down the days on this, so I will be playing multiplayer with her on this. So if anyone wants to join me and help me out, that'd be great. We can do up to 4 people. Looked like it was running kind of rough. Like, I don't know why with the trailer. I'm hoping it was just that, because the old games ran great. So I don't know why it looks similar. So I don't know why that would be.
Some of these trailers, it was like somebody knocked on the door and said, have your trailers ready for tomorrow's direct. And they're like, what direct?
Yeah, seems about that way. Like I said, she's excited for it. I want to play it because I really like the last one on 3DS. We put a lot of time into it, kind of building stuff up. So, all right. Next, we had SaGa Frontier 2 Remastered, which is available now. They just dropped this out of the blue, which this time Joey probably is celebrating.
And Frank was immediately playing it on stream.
I'm not even surprised, because as soon as it said available now, I assumed they bought it.
Yesterday afternoon or evening when I got home from work, I got a notification like Frank's online and he's playing this because it's one of his favorite games. And I was like, oh my gosh, of course he is. It actually looks really good. Like the game itself.
It does. Chris, this seems like one up your alley. Have you taken any interest in it?
The thing is, I haven't really played the first one because it was too confusing, but I have, again, some RPG friends who are still, coaxing me into playing Dragon Quest. They adore that game, but I'll probably watch a playthrough because I would get lost way too easily.
Nice. What about you, Steven?
I absolutely hated the first one. The first SaGa Frontier is one of the worst Square Soft RPGs I've ever played. The second one was a lot better, but I didn't really play into it because I had such a negative aspect of the first one. So I'm going to wait.
Not everything's for everybody.
Physical though.
Yeah, I went and looked. Apparently, I own SaGa Frontier 1 and 2 on the original PlayStation, and it does not surprise me that I never finished them because, as Rachel pointed out, me and RPGs have been a very contemptuous relationship over the decades. So who knows? Maybe I'll enjoy it more on Switch. Have to give it a shot at some point. Now onto a game that I got really happy to see. So Monument Valley and Monument Valley 2 are both coming to the Switch on April 15th as a collection. No word if this is getting a physical release. I really hope so. And then that kind of ties into after they announced these two games, which were they're puzzle games that use different spatial orientation and visual tricks as you're going through. They announced Monument Valley 3 coming out summer 2025. So either we're going to get 1 and 2 released by themselves and then 3 as a separate cartridge, or possibly I would love to see just one cartridge with all 3 of them. I mean, it's not exactly pushing the size limit, I don't think. Anybody else ever messed with these games before? Steven? Never played them? Rachel, did you ever play any of the Monument Valleys? They were very popular on iPhones.
Wasn't those one of those Netflix games? Like produced by the Netflix development people?
No. Monument Valley was very early like iPhone gaming before.
Okay. I remember it being available to play on the Netflix gaming thing.
They might have had it on there as one of their things available later on.
Okay.
Because they did pick up. Yeah.
But I never played it. I don't know.
It's for fans of MC Escher, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's spatial geometry and puzzles, so I'm immediately in. Chris, you ever tried these?
I haven't, but I may give it a shot.
I can recommend them. They're fun.
I like Goroga.
That's a good one. All right. Now for our second Sony released game of this direct, which 1 was weird, 2 is just confusing. Everybody's Golf Hot Shots coming in 2025. I love the Hot Shots golf series. It's probably the most played game when I had a Vita. I played the crap out of it on PSP. I had them for previous Sony systems every time they would come out because it was just, I always had fun with these games. So getting a new Hot Shots made me happy. Go ahead, Steven.
Before anybody wonders, no, it is not Camelot doing this game like they did the first game, Hot Shots Golf, before Nintendo's like, you guys are good at this. It is a brand new developer who hasn't touched Hot Shots before.
It looks good. I'm hopeful. Let's just say
the modes are better than Mario Golf World Tour, so
yeah,
I'd rather have a tornado hole and like blocks on there than running to each hole.
That was a weird mode. I didn't like that. So yeah, I'm curious to try this one out. Like I said, I don't know how much you guys are into golf, but that's like the one weird sports game I have fun with.
Did you say golf or golf?
I said golf. I didn't say golf. I'm not goofy. Golf. Oh, Max, let's play golf. All right. On to our next one here. So Marvel Cosmic Invasion coming holiday 2025 was a big surprise. Like, I didn't know what the hell was going on when they started showing the animation for this. This is made by .emu and Tribute, who did the Ninja Turtles game and some of the other ones here recently.
Mercenary Kings, they did Wonder Boy, so they are top of their field for pixel art.
Yes. This game takes place loosely during the Annihilation story, which deals with an invasion from the Negative Zone by Nihilus. They're going to have 15 different characters you can choose from, and you can pick 2 at a time and switch between them while you're playing. It's a classic side-scrolling beat 'em up to 4 players, I believe. They've only shown a handful of the characters, though. We have Captain America, Wolverine, Spider-Man, Venom, Storm, Nova, and Phyla. Phyla, the last time anyone's really seen much from her was the end credits scene in Guardians of the Galaxy 3. She was the little girl that they rescued that ended up kind of taking over as one of the fighters that they had. So I'm curious of who else is going to be there. And I was going to ask you guys if you had any specific Marvel characters you would want to see show up in this possibly.
I think because of the size of Venom, I really think they should have Hulk. At the very least, the last details I saw about it did up it to 20 characters, so that means there's 5 more in there.
Okay.
I'm really loving the 4-player local and online co-op. I just hope you cannot change characters when you play multiplayer.
Oh, okay. You just want to have it where you're stuck to the one person. You can't switch them out.
Yeah, I think it would just work better there. And I'm also wondering, like, if there's a large breadth of moves, so to speak, because I was excited for the G.I. Joe beat 'em up until you play it and you realize that they have the same moves.
I wonder if they do like Ninja Turtles where you kind of level them up as you go. Chris, what about you? Any Marvel characters you'd want to see show up?
I just like the way they're done. So as long as they all have separate move sets, that's enough for me. It's a beautiful game so far. I've already had like 7 different people say, "Hey, check this out. Let's do multiplayer." So, it'll be interesting.
Oh, we'll be playing this for sure. Rachel, what about you? Any comic book characters you'd want to see show up or Marvel ones? I know you've seen the movies.
Gambit. Always Gambit.
Okay. It's not a bad choice.
Always Gambit. Because that would be good. You just throw playing cards.
For me, for one, I'm hoping they have a good costume selection. I love alternate costumes for people. So that'd be great. Like, Steven, as soon as you mentioned the Hulk, I'm like, oh, I want the gray Hulk in there, like Mr. Fix-It style. Gambit, you got a couple of different options, things like that. For me, I was thinking, crap, I just had to give one in there, but I know Adam Warlock is one I would like to have just because I always liked kind of having in it. Oh, I remember which one I was going to pick. Beast. I want Beast in there, but I want to have the original 1960s black and yellow suit and then the Avengers all blue fur modern one that we know of. Would be
if it was anybody other than Emu in Tribute, I'd say all of our wishes will never come true. But they are very into like options, like because they did Scott Pilgrim versus the World, and that had tons of characters, tons of options.
Such a good game.
So, I feel that they're going to do it justice. So, justice.
That's DC.
That's Captain America. That's America's ass.
America's ass.
For sure. All right. And the last Switch game that was announced that was a surprise, honestly, and started with a fart. Tomodachi Life, Living the Dream, coming out in 2026. The title seems to be keeping the random weirdness of the older 3DS game, which is great. But now instead of an apartment building, you have kind of a small town that everyone seems to be living in. I don't know like what kind of interaction we're going to get with these, or if it's just like virtual pets or you're watching them and have mini games. Go ahead, Steven.
This was the third in the trilogy of the, are you pronouncing it correctly? Because they said Tomodachi Life. And upon further research,
Tomodachi
that is the pronunciation. It's not Tomodachi because it's supposed to be Daz and Dad. So I was like, oops.
Yeah, I've been calling it
I was just like, sorry, narrator, I've been pronouncing it wrong my entire life again because of Tamagotchi ruining my life.
So I remember Tomodachi Life, like I remembered that game, right? And I remember doing the show at the radio station, and Kyle and Caleb being like, "We made this in Tomodachi Life," and I'd be like, "What?" And they kept making us do funny things in Tomodachi life, and I thought that was really funny, and that's what it reminded me of.
Well, I had the short-lived phone app too, if you remember, and we made all of us in that.
Yeah, I played that to death.
Yeah, me too. I missed that one. It was actually a fun game.
Many people picked up on a very, very important part of that trailer, though.
Really?
Is that Nintendo kept their promise. This is going to get a little controversial for a second.
Okay.
But do you remember when they removed the same-sex stuff in the first Tomodachi Life?
I remember.
And they got a huge backlash. So Nintendo said, when we make another one, we will rectify that in every way.
Mm-hmm.
And they definitely did, because they literally had one dreaming about another. So it was just like, we're back. So
yeah,
now we just got to wait for all the warriors to come out of the Twitterverse and be like, what is this Wokagachi?
I don't even think I don't even notice that. It was just the normal, because like they would have weird dreams, unless it was a part I didn't see, because like the one that was sitting on the bench that was asleep, that dreamed of the girl running towards her and it became a giant and was talking, which was hilarious. So, but Jennifer's, this is another one she's wanting to get immediately because
my wife's really happy too, because like
Amanda wants it. Like that says something.
Because funny little story that she always reminds me of is she put us in the game and like people she liked, celebrity stuff like that. But then what do you call it? My character in her game and her character were falling in love. And around that same time I was about to propose to her, and she was like, you don't know how close you were to making me angry. And I'm like, what do you mean? And she's like, our characters in this game also almost got married before we did.
Oh my gosh.
And I was just like, I made it.
Oh, that's hilarious. So it looks like they're keeping the weirdness with a lot of the stuff, but like, do you guys remember they would have like all the Virtual Boy stuff where they'd be like dancing around it and worshiping it and so forth? Which I know we're not going to get Reggie in this one. I'm pretty sure we're not getting old Reggie Fils-Aimé back. But we could get the other people. Do you think they're going to get Virtual Boy Love again? Or do you think they're going to kind of switch it out and do the Wii U this time? Be like, look, the Wii U was great. Love it. You're playing all the games again.
I think they're going to make it so you can create it however you want now.
Could be.
Because they had an old man breakdancing. They had... as Christian and I were laughing about when they were fighting, they were just throwing everything at each other.
Yeah, just repeating sprites. Speaking of which, Chris, what's your thoughts on this one?
It actually taught me how to make a dish, so I approve.
There you go.
Yeah, we what was it again? Was it
Loco Moco or Moco Loco? It's a Hawaiian dish.
I think it was Moco Loco, because it was like a scrambled egg with a hamburger on top. And we ran over to Christian and we're like, can you make this? And he's like, I think I can, yeah.
Hell yeah.
See, the food was so good in that game.
New recipes, I'm fine with it.
Oh, Lord. Did you ever have the DS?
When you have this.
Yeah. Chris, did you ever mess around with the DS cooking game?
Which one? You mean like Cooking Mama? Or
no, the actual, like, it was basically like recipes and would walk you through how to make stuff, because we have that and we actually used it and Amanda would cook from it. There's some good recipes.
No, that's the first I've heard of it.
Yeah, it was like My Life.
I have it in case you ever want to borrow it and make something and add too much garlic to it or something.
I'm going to put garlic in your Moco Loco next time.
Yeah, it was Personal Trainer Cooking is what it was called.
Huh.
You can't really see it on the screen because it's too bright, but
I thought Nintendo had one too.
That is Nintendo's.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Personal Trainer Cooking, because it was part of the Touch Generation DS titles. I still have it. I can go over and get it. It's in the other room right there. I moved all my games in here.
The other one was America's Test Kitchen. Let's Get Cooking.
Oh yeah, I never got that one.
Mm-hmm.
I was also by Nintendo. That's why I was thinking of that one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this one was the actual official Nintendo one. Good recipes, and it would let you like it would read out the instructions. You could just set it down there and kind of flip through the pages and stuff. And Amanda actually used it, and you can make shopping lists from stuff. It was cool. I don't know how we wandered into that conversation from Tomodachi life. But all right, let's move on to the letter grade for this direct. All right, Stephen, we will start with you. This direct being the final Switch 1 specific direct, as far as we can tell, because I think from here on out we're going to get either Switch 2 only or Switch 2 with some Switch 1 combo. Yeah. But what letter grade would you give this?
Even though they had 2 returns that returned after almost 10 years, I still give it a B because I'd be waiting for some great games down the pipeline.
Fair enough. Chris, what about you?
I think it was an A. A nice swan song for the previous console. Nice. Still plenty of stuff to make you want to play it, which is important.
Very true. Rachel, what about you?
I'd also give it an A because it filled me with delight and surprised me.
All right.
And nothing ticked me off. Another important point.
So I have to give it a B because it's Tamagotchi, damn it. Not Tamagotchi.
And it's Gradius, not Gradius.
Was I saying Gradius?
No, they said Gradius.
Oh, I can't remember if I said Gradius or Gradius. I think sometimes I do say Gradius on that one. I'm not going to lie.
No, you said Totodile.
Shut up.
Totodile.
If it helps,
Sui soon.
If it helps, it's Gradius because it's actually meant to be. Actually, let me think. Because I think it's meant to be out of gladius, like the Roman blade. That's why it's called that. So
that makes sense.
It depends on how you pronounce that, I think.
Thank you, Professor Konami.
Nice.
Yay.
All right, let's do our one other news story for tonight. So Ubisoft has broken off part of the business, including games series like Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six, Assassin's Creed, and Far Cry into a new subsidiary company that will have a 25% investment and ownership from Tencent for $1.25 billion. So the weird thing about this, the new subsidiary will focus on these particular games by, quote, building game ecosystems designed to become true evergreen and multi-platform.
Games as a service.
Yeah, that's going to probably happen. Because they do talk about more freemium options for games to start and things like that. So it's going to be full of those. Along with the listed games, the development teams back catalog and new in-production titles for these from their Montreal, Quebec, Sherbrooke, Saguenay, Barcelona, and Sofia will be moved over as well. I didn't get a chance to look and see what that back catalog is, but I'm kind of worried how many games from Ubisoft just got shunted over to Tencent, kind of putting their fingers in it. And then Ubisoft will still be able to use these IPs, but they're going to have to pay a license fee to the subsidiary to be able to access them. So any more Assassin's Creeds, more Rainbow Six stuff, or any of the Far Cry is going to be tainted, I guess the best way I could put it. So, don't know. Steven, do you have any thoughts on this whole situation?
Yeah, I think the subsidiary should be called Ubisoft Concord.
Oh,
damn. That's cold.
And I've never heard of any game from Sherbrooke, Saguenay.
Well, these are where the developers were located. They didn't say the names of the teams. They only gave the locations. So I'm wondering if they're just like handing over entire office buildings or something. So don't know. Anybody else have anything on this one? Or are we pretty much moving on? Oh, all right. Well, I looked at the dot and went, yeah, Chris's dot on here for the screen, because you don't have a picture, is not going to answer me. So yeah, I can't get a visual look on him. All right, let's move on to the speed run. So No Man's Sky added in a bone hunting and museum creation mode. So they put some Animal Crossing in my No Man's Sky, and I am here for that. This game has had some of the most random ass updates I have ever seen. Because
I think their question that they always ask themselves is, why not?
At this point, yeah. And they still have not charged for a single update.
Good for them.
So I just keep getting Animal Crossing vibes from that part. It's like you can make your little town, make a museum, dig up these dinosaur bones, and they're not preset. You get to make the dinosaur creatures. So we'll see how weird we make these. But yeah, that's kind of a fun one. And then the last thing we have for the speed run is Avengers Doomsday. Marvel had a big release showing kind of like they spent 5 hours streaming an event where they just showed the back of movie chairs, and it showed the cast that they're announcing, which they have come back later and stated this is only a very small part of it. And I'm guessing they're starting production on the film. So these people may be going out and it's going to leak out everywhere and stuff. But so right now we do know that we're going to have Thor, Invisible Woman, Captain America, the modern one, Bucky, Black Panther, the Shuri one, Ant-Man, U.S. Agent, Namor, Thing, Shang-Chi, Black Widow, the Yelena version, Beast.
Hell yeah.
Which that was the first one that shocked me. I was like, oh shit, Kelsey Grammer. Sentry, Falcon, also the modern one, Human Torch, Red Guardian, M'Baku, Ghost, Loki, Professor X, actual Patrick Stewart coming back, Magneto, Sir Ian McKellen.
Hell yeah.
Which I kind of wondered, shouldn't they technically have put Sir Patrick Stewart and Sir Ian McKellen on the chair? Nightcrawler, we're getting from X2, which was Alan
Chef's
Cumming.
Kiss.
Yeah. He's probably only coming back because they can CG it now. He's like, no more makeup. He swore that shit off.
Mm-hmm.
Mystique from the 2000s X-Men movies.
Chef's
Cyclops, Kiss. We're getting him back.
Chef's Kiss.
Which I will pause on that one. Someone made a joke post that I kind of wish would happen, where they were showing him riding in cars like with Sonic, and then there was that rabbit character, and then someone had him dressed as Cyclops driving with Rocket in the car. And they were like, come on, Marvel, finish the trilogy.
Perfect.
They
might do it.
Of Madsen driving with a furry animal.
Things that pop out to me. Let's finish the list and then I will.
Yes. We're getting Gambit, which Tatum's coming back.
Chef's Kiss.
And then Mr. Fantastic. And then lastly, they actually had Robert Downey Jr. show up as Doom. And I like the tagline they introduced with it after they released this was everything leads to Doom, which was kind of fun. So go ahead, Rachel. What were you going to say?
So the first thing I noticed is no Jean Grey. Whatever.
Well, they're missing a lot of people.
I know. I wonder if that's intentional or they're going to announce more or whatever.
They said there's a lot more they're not announcing.
It's early days. It is very early days. Yeah. But other thing, it tells to me that, Human Torch, Invisible Woman, all those where they don't mark it OG, that's going to mean it's going to be the new one.
Oh yeah,
no. If they didn't though, if they had the OG person, and I'm like, oh, it's just Chris Evans playing himself twice.
Yeah, they all the chairs were the actors' names. Uh-huh. I just filled in the characters because that's the easier way for people to understand it.
Oh no, I get it. But yeah. I get it. It makes sense. But I think that would be so funny. It's like, oh, can you imagine? Like, no, here it is. That's the real reason that they had Johnny Storm in Deadpool and Wolverine. Is so he couldn't show up in this.
What would be funnier for him if they just had Chris Evans? Well,
that's what I'm saying.
Putting chairs.
That's the real reason that he was in Deadpool and Wolverine as Johnny Storm is so that he couldn't come back as Johnny Storm in Doomsday. Yep. I figured it out. I've got you, Marvel.
Well, from a lot of this list, like people that were missing, like Deadpool and Wolverine were not mentioned, though we're pretty sure they're going to be involved in it.
It would make sense.
Yeah, because they kind of hinted at it. No Spider-Man, like Tom Holland or any of them. No Hulks, no Eternals, no one from the Marvels.
They're all off doing their own thing.
But mind you, like I said, this is a small amount of the cast, they said, that whatever reason they wanted.
Nobody remembers Spider-Man anymore, remember?
That would have been kind of funny, though, because like whoever was doing this did have a bit of a sense of humor. When they got to Ant-Man, they actually moved it down and it was a tiny chair. And I was like, okay, that was great. Which they swapped out later with a full-size chair, but the visual joke, chef's kiss. But if they did include Tom Holland, it would have been funny if it just said Spider-Man. Like they just left Tom Holland's name off of it because nobody knows who he is. That would have been good.
Because what's her name? It's too hard for me to pronounce half the time. But who played She-Hulk? She canceled an appearance to do a filming conflict. So everybody's like,
I hope she's in it. I don't care what people. You can put your Twitter hat on if you want to repeat what they say, but I loved She-Hulk. I thought it was well done. I thought it was hilarious.
I geeked out because she's the mom in The Monkey.
Really?
Yeah, I was just like, she's in a horror. It's She-Hulk.
I still need to watch that one.
It's great.
So, all right, so we got Marvel's Doomsday, a little bit of the cast. There's a whole bunch more that are going to be in that. Then there's the entire second film, which is Civil War, or Secret Wars.
Secret War,
not Civil War. My bad. So that's probably going to be a huge blowout of all kinds of people coming into that. So
the whole intro will be done by AI.
God. Oh, no. So if they ever do that, I'll be like, can we just stop making movies? So
it's a throwback to Secret Invasion.
That was the only time I've really felt like, come on. I hated that opening for that reason alone. All right, so let's jump into the big question. So with next week being the final blowout reveal for the Switch 2, what are your last predictions, hopes, concerns, etc. about the upcoming hardware, software, etc.? And yes, I put software, etc. like that on purpose. So, Chris, since I can't see what you're doing, we'll start with you.
Fair enough. I think my biggest concerns right now are backward compatibility, whether the entire original Switch library, and we've already been told that not the entire Switch library will be on Switch 2, but hopefully most of it will be compatible.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping to see at least one of my preferred 3 Atlas games at the Switch 2 reveal. If they reveal software, it's either going to be Persona 3 Reloaded, Persona 4 re-whatevered, or Metaphor. Hoping for any of those 3.
I think Metaphor would be a good one to carry over. So, all right. Rachel, what about you?
God, I don't.
She's like, I don't think about this shit.
I'm like,
Henry Hatsworth 2.
Yes.
Oh my God.
I have the obvious predictions are we're gonna get something Mario related. More.
It's been long enough. Yeah.
We're gonna get something Mario related, and there's gonna be something with Zelda, but we just don't know what it is.
Okay. I actually don't think we're gonna get Zelda.
No, I mean, I don't think we're gonna get like a new Zelda. I think we're gonna get there's gonna be something Zelda that is like, oh, we're gonna port or remaster.
You finally throw out the Wind Waker and Twilight Princess.
Yep.
If they skip that and do a different one, people would be pissed.
Can you imagine though if they did something like Majora's Mask, just like out of pocket, like complete revamp remaster Majora's Mask, like.
That's going to be a fun reaction, because if I can set this up, because I'm taking the day off from work, by the way. I've already put vacation time in and got approved. So if the plan goes as we were talking about, Steven, Chris, and I will be watching this, streaming it together. So if they do a Majora's Mask announcement, you will see me cheer and him get pissed in real time.
I will leave.
Then it'll just be me and Chris. That's
wouldn't
fine.
that be the most out of pocket, like random thing that they could do of all the Zelda games?
How can we make the Switch 2 fail? Let's put Zelda 2 and Majora's Mask and New No Man's Sky on it. Like, let's just ruin everything.
What they or they do
let's put a Vout on it and complete the trilogy of
like a redone, like
what the hell,
like
man?
Completely from the ground. No, you know, it'd be even more out of pocket. HD 2D Minish Cap.
That
they need Capcom for that one though.
Yeah, that would be a very weird translation, the way that scales. Because that's trying to make a bit of a 3D effect on it.
Could be fun.
I'd kind of rather them go back and use the Link's Awakening engine to kind of make that. I think it would work better, but it still would be great.
I don't know. Could be fun.
Maybe you shrink down and it's 2D.
Yeah, could be fun. But I don't know. There's now watch. If any of these things happen, my mystical powers of manifestation are still working. So, but God, I don't even know what I'd say for hardware. My hopes is that it's not coming out in summer because I don't want to have to buy another game console right away. Give me some time, Nintendo.
It sounds
Please.
like June.
Yeah, but I say leaks and stuff. I was just reading Best Buy put up a page about it being in June and then took it down immediately. So
give me till
saying you get
July.
saying you get an exclusive coin for pre-ordering it first run.
No.
Yeah, because Best Buy pretty much, because now we've had Canada had one
Walmart
happen.
Canada and Best Buy Canada.
Yep.
Okay. Well,
get that money ready.
Oh, jeez.
All
right, Steven, what about you?
Okay. I hope you're ready for my presentation. I, as a Nintendo fan, not a Nintendo toddler, as some people will be out there, I have legitimate concerns because of how Switch 1 was handled.
Mm-hmm.
And that is when we finally got to see the Switch. It was only 15 minutes long, and it just talked about the hardware only.
Right.
So my fear and my concern is that they'll do that and save a separate press event / different direct for software. Now, when they had the other event, their press event in January, they showed over about an hour of everything from the features, the launch lineup, the hardware, the price, the release date. It was everything you wanted. The thing they did right before Christmas, it was nothing you wanted. It was just like a stopgap. So I'm really hoping, first and foremost, this has to be longer than this direct was. It has to please be at least 45 minutes to over an hour if you're going to tell us all about the system, and then you're going to show us some games.
I mean,
hour minimum.
They were hyping this up, I guess. So hopefully,
because as Jeremy said, one of his worries is that what if they just take 15 minutes, right? Tell you all about the hardware, and then they stay tuned to the Nintendo Day app for the next 30 days while we make more exclusive announcements, and they push that you need to sign up for that over anything else. That is the worst case scenario. That is the monkey's paw of doom, basically. But my other thing I was telling Chris about is I said, I'm going into this with a game, okay? Instead of a letter grade, I'm giving them a rating out of 10.
Okay.
And the way this is going to work is, and I can change the rules at any time. I'm like Darth Vader. I'm going to give Autumn right now, right off the bat, before it even starts. I'm giving the direct a 10. Okay?
It may go down.
It can go up above even a 10 if they show third-party titles.
Why don't you just make 10 louder?
It'll go down a point if they show indie titles that are already on Switch 1. I don't need a better-looking Monument Valley. Sorry, it already looks fine. I don't need it.
Would you count that if it uses a particular feature of the Switch 2, like a special mode, like a mouse or something?
I don't want to hear about it. Let the publisher do that themselves. Don't waste our time.
If they do Civilization, you'd count it off if they're like, here's the full mouse mode and how it runs on the new system.
Don't show us Metroid Prime 4 unless it's a quick clip of what it looks like as part of the. This is what it looks like enhanced. If you're going to do it that way, that's fine. But if you show us more Metroid Prime 4, you're wasting my time because I already saw the game twice and I want it. My other thing was that, don't rehash anything. Like, don't talk about Xenoblade Chronicles X having a 60 FPS mode. Again, just mention it in passing as part of a feature. Do not spend time on it saying, look how much better this looks. Do a separate video for that where you say, look at the differences. So I'm going to impose rules on Nintendo that'll affect my grade because I want them to take, in a perfect world, it would be 30 minutes for the hardware and an hour for games. And that is realistic because during E3 times, that has been how long Xbox has been and PlayStation at times. So it is not unreasonable by any stretch of the imagination. But if Nintendo wants to make this the biggest launch in history, you need to give us enough time to take this all in.
Right. All right. So on mine, I can at least one thing I can kind of put you at ease. Using their own app, I'm looking at their calendar. We have the Direct on the 2nd. On the 4th, they already have the Nintendo Switch 2 experience in New York and Paris. So they're going to have games there playable for people to see and interact with. So we're going to see games. I don't think they're going to, just show hardware and then skip the games. If they had given it more time instead of just rushing it like they seem to be, which they didn't have to, they had all this time, they could have said something. What's up, Steve?
Another thing, just a quick point, is that I really hope happens is as soon as the Direct is over, I hope the floodgates are then opened and lifted for all the third parties to start announcing their games.
Hopefully. I think a lot of them are going to get announced there too, or covered.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of opposite on a lot of this stuff with you. I want them to take the time to point out enhancements or how the Switch 1 games will work on the Switch 2, because I think that's an important part. I think if they just blow by that and leave that as a question of any kind, people are going to hesitate getting a Switch 2 if they do not know their entire Switch 1 library, which is like record breaking for the amount of games most people get for that thing over other stuff. Like people will buy a PS5 and only get one game for some people. Like they only have a handful, but a Switch, they've got like 20, 30 or so.
But they should spend as long as they did talking about virtual game cards.
Well, I think what they need to do, because they need to see both how normal games, like every Switch game is going to be enhanced, not like going through the list, but like just general, if nothing is done, put a Switch game in, here's what it does. I want to see the different features, how they're being supported. I want to see Civilization show up with mouse functionality, because that is a game-changing thing. I assume we're going to see Metroid Prime again, and I want to, because you have not seen what they would show. You've seen Switch 1 Metroid Prime. How it runs on Switch 2 could be very different. I still think we're going to get that launch date is going to be the same as the Switch itself. They're going to do a Metroid Dread where it launched with the OLED. They just kind of released it at the same time.
I just want them to do trailers after the Direct for all the Switch 2 games that they announced, so they can show longer trailers of those.
A longer trailer's fine, but I think that would be the worst way for them to do this. This is their one time they're getting everybody to focus on this. Like, it's becoming an event. I'm taking a vacation day for a fucking Direct. Like, that is a first for me.
Same.
And you have that window of time, which they don't normally ever go over an hour. So I think that's what they're going to do. And they could do clips and so forth, but as they go through and explain the functions of the Switch 2, they should have examples and things to show, because the visual is a lot easier for people to understand. And I'm thinking Prime is going to be a big one of the launch focus games. Hopefully not a separate release, but it could be. And if that's the case, they're going to show it. So they kind of need to go into some of that stuff to show the difference of it as well. And they're probably going to show Switch 1 footage versus Switch 2 footage if there is a visual difference. You're going to want to see that side by side, and they can take a little bit of time, because a lot of people you're going to have to explain this to. But yeah, like I originally had that worry about them just doing a quick hardware overview and then showing stuff later, but looking at their own calendar, it would be way too soon. Imagine how bad that would be if it showed up like, here, handle the Switch 2 in New York. We just put the Mario trilogy in there. There you go. It's just, it's all you can play on it. Mario Odyssey. It's the same thing. But like hardware, we already pretty much know about. I just want to know what the hell the C button is at this point. I want to see fun uses for the mouse. I want to see a WarioWare for the mouse, because I know that's going to be stupid and hilarious. And they love making WarioWares based on their weird ass controls. My most out of left field want, because of the mouse, I want a new port of Quake 3 Arena. Give me that with controls and a mouse, and I will play the hell out of that. I love that game. It'll never happen, but who knows? Go ahead, Steven.
When you're done, I have a final question to pose to all you guys.
Oh, okay. But yeah, we need to know all the secrets of the hardware. We need to know how Switch 1 games are going to handle. We need to know what features and how the stuff on the Switch 2 is being used. I don't want any mysteries left with this, full explanation. And I agree, when they give the clips and a little bit of information, they can have longer trailers afterwards, but they need to see it during the event. Go ahead, Rachel.
I want to know more about the UI specifically.
Oh yeah,
and whether it's like if there's any customability going on, because that was the one.
Can we at least get colors?
Folders and themes, please.
The one thing I like, I would like some themes, but I don't want them necessarily as detailed as other consoles handle themes.
I want a green background, damn it.
I just want to be able to do something like fun, or one of the things I liked most about I think it was PS3. How they handled themes is it changed the icons, it changed the little startup sound. It was unique enough that it was like cute and fun, and it provided some variety and really showcase who you are as a person.
They use that in fun ways for PS3 and the PSP.
Exactly.
Both of those use that in fun ways.
Very fun. So I feel that they can do something like that. But
bring back Badge Arcade.
God, yes. Don't make it a microtransaction hellhole nowadays.
Yeah. And I know there are people out there that don't want achievements, but I would like some kind of thing that doesn't necessarily have to do with like trophies, but maybe like some kind of progress thing, just because then it's it's a nice social aspect without bringing in too much social with it, because you can already see what people are playing and how many hours they played it.
When you get into Xenoblade, it's not a spoiler or anything, but like you're going to be unlocking achievements all the time. It has a whole list in there you can go through and like as you do stuff.
Yeah.
Because I've never been super big on like how many people actually go in and compare them half the time. Like I might reference it to look up something like, did I beat this one? Oh yeah, I got that. But I don't want it to have a number or something, because people are just like, oh, you're not a real PlayStation person unless you got this many platinums, or not an Xbox player unless your gamer score is like this. And I'm like, the achievements were a fun side thing originally. Let it still be that again. Like I'm okay with that.
Like I can imagine like going on a profile and you have like these little like like badges of some kind, and they could be stuff for like silly things, like
I like
Mario
how Xbox
Kart Maven or whatever. But
I like how Xbox, when you get achievements, you can take the artwork from the achievement and make it wallpapers for your backgrounds. Like you can actually change your theme based on every single achievement you've gotten, which is kind of cool.
But I just think that would be kind of cool. Some kind of achievement system without it being too complicated.
True. The other thing, we have to have a good functioning online and a voice chat at this point. I don't think we're going to get Discord integration. I don't see Nintendo doing that.
We can hope. We can hope.
Specifically, the whole mess of what happened with Twitter, a lot of people are thinking that might be why the calendar app even came out, because they're like, this place has become so bad and we relied so heavily connecting to that. We never want to do that again. We're just going to make our own apps, and that's what you're going to talk to now. So I don't think they're going to integrate into anything else because of that. They've kind of learned that lesson after getting burned. But yeah, that's most of the stuff for the Switch 2, like the voice chat and so forth. Maybe give me an amiibo. I'd like to at least get one more amiibo. Come on, man. It's just more amiibos. I'm always good with that. All right, Steven, what was your last little bit you wanted to add?
I think as the last send off before the direct happens, I would like each of you to give me, and I'll start, one or two of the most unrealistic expectations of the direct. And for example, I'll give you two of my most unrealistic expectations of the direct.
Oh, I got a good one for this.
Gears of War Collection and Dreamcast Switch Online expansion pack.
Ooh, that'd be nice. So for me, it's going to be an optional purchase attachable screen for DS Play. I know it's the rumored one, but just attach that screen to the top and play it as a giant DS.
Fuck yes. Yes.
Which I wonder how much that would have to go for. It'd have to be like another $200. We'd pay it.
I'd buy it. Give me the whole Layton library on there then.
Rachel's walking around with this big ass golden sun. Like the Dark Ages, I think.
Absolutely.
And then it'd be kind of funny if for mouse mode, if it had a almost computer style interface where you could go around and click on folders, like you can actually move them around like a computer screen. Chris, what about you?
total retroactive compatibility. If I buy Super Mario Brothers once, it works on everything.
Yes.
Is that it?
I think that's enough.
I would have thought you'd say like a port of Pain for Nintendo Switch 2.
And I immediately have that music in my head now. Love that game. Rachel, what about you?
Unrealistic. Go nuts.
Yeah, mine are out of left field too. So
I mean, Nintendo Switch Online DS, 3DS.
that would be cool. I mean, they prove it can work in some fun ways with the Castlevania collection. I can see a lot of games playable that way.
NSO GameCube.
Yeah, GameCube. I'm wondering if they're ever going to do
NSO GameCube. Come on, Nintendo. Come on. It's right there.
I'd be playing Cubivore if they release it.
Now the idea of this is everything we just said. None of that has to happen.
Let me
but
see.
Rachel's willed it, so I don't know if that
because they're all unrealistic.
I'm willing it.
My Quake 3 Arena fits in that, by the way, because there's no way in hell that was ever going to happen.
I'm willing it right now. I'm good, just putting the mystical powers of manifestation out there into the universe. It's not so unrealistic.
Rachel, if any of what you said comes to fruition next week, I am buying Christian the largest garlic thing I can find.
I don't get a reward for any of it.
Her the largest garlic thing you can find.
No, I'll just give her like a life-size bust of supernatural actors.
And it'll live right there in the background forever.
Oh my God.
Y'all can get jump scared by, I don't know, Castiel. So, or Dean Winchester. I don't know. Take your pick. Have fun. What else? Oh God. I'm trying to think. What other unrealistic things can we wish for, guys?
Mine was the most unrealistic.
Yes.
$100 price tag.
Like if you had asked that during the Wii, I would have lost because Commodore 64 Virtual Console, Neo Geo Virtual Console, what? But I think all that's out the window now.
They've realized they can make their own things now.
Yeah.
So the last thing I wanted to add to it as well is what I really want this to have, and I want this to be an actual thing. When you transfer your stuff from the Switch to the Switch 2, let's continue. Can I get the Pikmin back? I absolutely loved watching the Pikmin move, like my DS to 3DS and my Wii to Wii U, and I want to see Switch to Switch 2 with Pikmin moving stuff around. Like it's fantastic, and it needs to continue. Because it looks like Mii's are kind of coming back. I'd like that to be integrated in again.
I'm telling you, nostalgia, it's in.
Well, I think they realize Mii's are recognizable and popular enough and friendly enough that they can continue using them and not just limit it to the Wii or Wii U. So who knows? All right. I think that's a pretty good little wrap up on that. So we'll go ahead and start closing out the episode. So you can find the podcast in audio form wherever you listen to your shows, and the video version over at YouTube at our channel, Zenspath COM. Both can easily be found over on zenspath.com/podcast as well. Leave us a review if you can to help us grow. Like and share the show with others. Leave us a comment on YouTube to tell us how you feel about the show, as well as maybe answer this week's big question or questions, because we had a few of them. We want to hear your thoughts, suggestions, and ideas about the Switch 2. Talk to us directly over on Discord as the easiest way to find us and chat with the latest news and happenings, which you can find that as well at zenspath.com, or the link for the Discord server is bit.ly/Zenspathdiscord, all one word. All right, so we will be back next week with all of our Switch 2 breakdowns after that whole situation. Later this week on Wednesday, you can find Steven, Chris, and I probably streaming over on Twitch while we're watching the Nintendo Direct and just freaking out and laughing over everything that happened. You can watch Steven leave as the Majora's Mask becomes the launch title with a full remake that Rachel has willed into existence. Steven just not even smiling now. He can't take a joke. There's a little grin. He's just smiling a little bit.
-1 point.
You would just be like, I'm done. It's a 0.
I already gave Shadow Universe -1 point for Pac-Man mech.
Oh, I love that. Anyways. All right, so this has been episode 166 of the Zenspath Entertainment Network podcast, and we're out. Peace.
Bye-bye.
Tamagotchi.
Farewell.
Yeah.